Okay, so on number 7, this is the ratio you wrote it down. 1.5 to 4. So 1.5 is the inches, 4 is the feet. Now, the one thing that is different on this one, you just got to make sure they could trick you. When they give you these two things, you have to think of those as two separate dimensions. So you got to do two separate proportions. So I had to do one proportion to convert the 14 feet. So I did 1.5 over 4 equals x over 14. So think about this. The 1.5 is the scale. 4 is the actual. We're finding the scale. 14 was the actual, right? So I cross multiplied and divided. Did the same thing with the 10. Does that make sense, everybody? And then on this one, 2 centimeters to 1 foot, that's the scale there, right? So you put 2 over 1. The 36 went with the 2 centimeters. I'm finding the x, so I cross multiply to get 18. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do, question real quick, sorry. Dawson, question? You're good? All right, so on this next part, it's called indirect measurement. So what indirect measurement is, basically, if you're outside and the sun is shining, every shadow is proportional. Okay, and we're going to talk more about triangles in this unit, why they're like, what it means to be a similar triangle. What basically happens is, since the sun is shining at the same angle everywhere in one place, every shadow is proportional to another one. So basically, like this first example, it's saying you have a lampshade or lamp post. We don't know how high it is, right? But you know it's making a 72-inch shadow. So we're thinking of that as a right triangle. But you have somebody else that you know how tall they are, and you know how long their shadow is. Everybody with me on that? So when I go to set this up, all right, I would put the things together. Like, in other words, I'm going to put x over 72. Now, in this case, it doesn't matter which one you're considering the actual, but I'm putting x here. That's the height of the lamp. The bottom's going to be the shade, which means when I do my other one, I have to go in the same way. So my top is both the actual things. The bottoms are the shadow. So what it does is it allows you to set up a proportion that you can find out the missing height of something. Okay, so in this case, I could cross multiply 50 times x. Cross multiply 72 times 66. What is 72 times 66? 4,752. So now I'd have that. Then I would take the 4,752 and divide by 50. Which gives me what? What was that again? I'm sorry? 95.04. So it would be 95.04 inches. That makes sense, everybody? Okay, if it does, try the next one real quick, please. Okay, and as you start doing this one, what's different about this one? Like, they give you the height and the shadow in feet and inches, right? So now this is what's important, okay, because this is different. That 75 is in what? Is it inches or feet? Feet. So what that means is, if I keep 75, in feet. What do you think I need to do with this? Yeah, we need to make it feet. Now remember, 9 does not mean 2.9. Okay, how many inches are in a foot? 12. So this is technically 2 and 9/12, right? This would actually be 5 and 6/12. Does that make sense, everybody, where that came from? So when you go to set this up, if I put x over 75, then I'm going to use 5 and I'm going to go ahead and take 6/12 and make it 1/2 because it would reduce, right? And make this 2 and 9/12 were reduced to 3/4. And then now I can cross multiply to work it out. 2 and 3/4 times x. 75 times 5 and 1/2. So whatever you get when you do 75 times 5 and 1/2, you would divide that by 2 and 3/4 to get your answer. Anybody got a question about that one? So everybody see how you have to keep them in the same units in that case. And then the last one, the only thing that might confuse you is it says it's a box, right? Well, here's my box. You just have to think of when the shadow comes off, think of the right triangle that's made there off of the edge of that box. And then even though the tint, however it's laid out, think of it as a right triangle still where the shadow's making. So you still would put 4 over 6 equals x over 9. And then you would cross multiply to work that out. 9 times 4 is 36. Okay, anybody got a question? Bless you. All right, let's do this. Let's work on the practice. I'll give you about 15 minutes or so to do practice problems, and then we'll see if we got questions on that before we go to the next thing. Okay?